Sanye Jola Soye Chomanga Chandu Padu Dani Gyasuchi Lagi Jinso Gire Sonange Doma Benchi Sangye Dupasho Sanye Jola Soye Chomanga Chandu Padu Dani Gyasuchi Lagi Jinso Gire Sonange Doma Benchi Sangye Dupasho Sanye Chula Soye Chonanga Chanchu Bado Dani Gyasuchi Lage Jinso Gebe Sonange Dola Tenchu Sangye Drupasho. I go for refuge and turn the light into the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. My meditations and practice of keeping so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn the light into the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. My accumulations and practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn my light into the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. My accumulations and practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Brahma Hetum Desham Tathagato Yavata Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Bhadi Mahashamanaye Swaha. Today we begin with the Bodhicitta. The teachings that the Buddha, after 49 days of remaining silent, are not giving any teachings. Finally, the Buddha started to give teachings at the request of the kings, two kings of the celestial beings, Brahma and Indra. At their request, then the Buddha started giving teachings, and then, of course, the Buddha remained silent for 49 days. Then the two kings of the celestial beings, they descended, and sensing that the Prince of Art being enlightened and not turning will of Dharma. So why the Prince of Art, after becoming fully awakened, why he's not turning will of Dharma? Then they descended, and the frustrations of Buddha, please don't remain silent, please turn the will of Dharma, please start giving teachings. Then the Buddha said this stanza, Savshikritu, so do much Bodhicitta Chushikuri, Sulishidan, basics of the place of non-full Bodhicittas. After the mantra and the meaning, then this stanza, Savshikritu, so do much Bodhicitta Chushikuri, profound, peaceful elaboration free, care-like, non-composite. Such nectar that Dharma discovered, finding no one who can fathom this teaching in silence or without words. So, now the Buddha said this stanza saying that the path that I've discovered is so profound, it's very peaceful, and elaboration free, clear-light, and non-composite. So this teaching is Dharma-like, nectar-like Dharma, not nectar-like teaching. Nectar-like the teaching which I've discovered is so profound that you could hardly find anybody
to fathom this teaching, who can grasp, understand this teaching. Finally, no one who can fathom this teaching in silence or returning words. This is what the Buddha said. Then the two kings, celestial beings, the kings of celestial beings, the gods and goddesses, they made more prostrations to the Buddha and pleaded the Buddha, please don't remain silent, please turn the will of Dharma. So at this request, then the Buddha, they accepted to give the teachings. And so the first, what the Buddha did was, Buddha, as it say, looked around to his earlier two teachers, Acharya Alarakalam and Acharya Udreka. And then learning that both of them passed away while he was in his 6 years of practice. Both of them passed away. And then he headed towards Varanasi. It is the third turn to Dharma. We did the three turnings to Dharma. Okay, so then the Bodhisattva turned towards Varanasi. So this is how it started. The first turning wheel of Dharma in Varanasi, second turning wheel of Dharma in Rajgir, third turning wheel of Dharma in Vaishali. Okay, very good. So from what we learned is that the first turning wheel of Dharma is like laying the ground, to create the framework of the main Dharma, the practice, and how we are trapped in samsara, how we can possibly come out of samsara. So this is the first turning wheel of Dharma. Then the second turning wheel of Dharma, the Buddha emphasized more on what exactly is liberation. What exactly is liberation? For that matter, the Buddha explained in great detail the concept of emptiness, ultimate reality, ultimate truth. The third turning wheel of Dharma, as to explain the subject. This morning we discussed about the objective clear light, subjective clear light. So the second turning wheel of Dharma, the emphasis was placed on the objective clear light, which is the emptiness concept. And third turning wheel of Dharma, the emphasis was placed on the subjective clear light. So this was the three turning wheel of Dharma. Then in the second turning wheel of Dharma, while the Buddha was giving the second turning wheel of Dharma, there all the teachings of the second turning wheel of Dharma, the teachings consist of two parts. One is the explicit teachings and the other the implicit teachings. Explicitly, all teachings were the profound emptiness. In other words, the Buddha's teachings are also classified. One way of classifying the Buddha's teachings is the teaching of the profound and the teaching of the vastness, teaching of the vast and the teaching of the profundity. Teaching of the profundity referring to the teaching on emptiness, and the point is that what we learned earlier, the liberating path and ripening paths. We talked about the liberating path and the ripening paths. So of all these paths the Buddha showed, some are liberating paths, which are the wisdom of emptiness. And all other teachings, they fall under the category of the ripening paths. So we see that again, another way of classifying the teachings is the teachings meant for the personal liberation seekers, and the teachings meant for to benefit all beings too. So teachings meant for the personal liberation seekers are referred to as in those days technically referred to as the Hinayana teachings, or the Pradimokshayana teachings, Hinayana teaching or Pradimokshayana teaching. So nowadays better would be to call Pradimokshayana teaching rather than Hinayana. Hinayana is quite offensive in many ways. So the second class of teaching is referred to as the Mahayana teachings. This is another class of the teachings. Within the Mahayana teachings, which primarily consisted of the second turning wheel of Dharma and the third turning wheel of Dharma. Within the Mahayana teachings, which primarily consists of the second and the third, but the first turning wheel of Dharma is indispensably required as the foundation for the minor teachings. That we have to know. Even the first Eternal Will of Dharma. It's not that first Eternal Will of Dharma is irrelevant to the minor practitioners. It is relevant, not only relevant, this is the ground for the minor practitioners. Whereas the emphasis, what is unique, the first Eternal Will of Dharma is not unique, it's common to all the Buddhist practitioners, whereas the second Eternal Will of Dharma is unique to the minor practitioners. Second Eternal Will of Dharma. And likewise the third and the second, and the distinction is made on the basis of Chiddamata philosophers. Chiddamata philosophers, for them is the third Eternal Will of Dharma, and for the Madhyamaka philosophers, the second Eternal Will of Dharma. This is the distinction. Now within what we're learning of the second Eternal Will of Dharma, which the emphasis is laid on the objective clear light. Emphasis laid on the objective clear light, number one. Emphasis laid on what constitutes nirvana, what constitutes enlightenment. What constitutes enlightenment? Or the Four Noble Truths, or the Four Noble Truths, the third truth. What is the third truth? What is the third Noble Truth? Truth of the cessation of suffering. The cessation of suffering, that is nirvana. This is enlightenment. Freedom from the suffering. So the emphasis, second Eternal Will of Dharma is emphasis on the, 2 points I'm saying. Second Eternal Will of Dharma is emphasis on the objective clear light, which is emptiness nature of phenomena. Emptiness nature. One. Number two, second Eternal Will of Dharma is with emphasis on the nirvana or enlightenment. What exactly is nirvana? What exactly is enlightenment? What exactly is the truth of the cessation of suffering? Truth. Okay, these we need to know. These are nuances which oftentimes we don't see in the text. We don't see mentioned in the text. Okay, some of these I clearly remember. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the mention about these things in his teachings. Okay. So now, the very important point is the second Eternal Will of Dharma. We see that the whole teaching, the teaching of the second Eternal Will of Dharma, we see that it is on two layers. One is the explicit teaching, and the other one is implicit teaching. Explicit and implicit. Okay, for example, what is explicit, what is implicit? If you could remember what we talked about, the affirming negative and non-affirming negative. Affirming negative, we said that we explicitly negate something and something else is inferred. We explicitly negate something and something else is inferred. And how something else is inferred depends. For example, when we say, okay, a very strong person, he never eats in the night time. So there you explicitly negate eating in the night time, and implicitly that he eats in the daytime is inferred. So there are two parts there, explicit content and implicit content. Likewise, the second Eternal Will of Dharma has the explicit teaching and the implicit teaching. Explicit teaching is on emptiness. The profound teaching. The profound teaching refers to the teaching on emptiness, and the implicit teaching is the teaching on the method side. Method side meaning the teaching on the mind practice, the Bodhisattva's practices other than the wisdom of emptiness, which is known as the teaching on the method side. Teaching on the vast. Vast meaning the method. Emptiness is profound. Teaching on the profound, referring to emptiness, teaching. And the teaching of the vast, meaning the Bodhisattvas. What they practice is so vast. Generosity, there are so many versions, kinds of generosity. Ethical discipline, patience, enthusiasm, all these things. There are so many kinds of very sophisticated practices of the air. Okay. So the Bodhicitta, teaching of Bodhicitta falls in the category of the implicit teaching, not the explicit teaching of the second Eternal Will of Dharma. There is implicit teaching because it falls under the category of which teaching? Profound and vast. Vast. Teaching of the vast, referring to the method side. Bodhicitta is the practice of the method side. Okay, this is what we need to keep in mind. Now, the Bodhicitta teaching, which forms a part of the implicit teaching of the second turning of Dharma. The Buddha taught primarily taught of the two methods as to how to cultivate bodhicitta. Two methods, and the first method is known as the sevenfold cause-effect method. Sevenfold cause-effect method. The first one. The second one is known as the method of equalizing and exchanging self-orders. Method of equalizing and exchanging self-orders. The two methods were taught. Then in terms of inheriting these teachings, these two methods, the Buddha Shakyamuni taught the first method, and primarily it was transmitted to Arya Maitreya. It was transmitted to Arya Maitreya. Then Arya Maitreya, you know the story of Arya Sangha, how Arya Sangha took 12 years to have the meeting, to have the communion. To have communion with Arya Maitreya, it took him 12 years. You know the story? How many you know the story? Raise your hands. How many don't know the story of the Arya Sangha's 12 years of hardship to meet with? Okay. So this. Okay. I may share part of this, and the detail you can listen from others. So the first method, the Buddha mainly transmitted to Arya Maitreya, and Arya Maitreya became the inheritor of this teaching, the method of cultivating bodhicitta on the basis of the sevenfold cause-effect practice. So this Arya Maitreya passed down to Arya Sangha. Then Arya Sangha passed down to Acharya Vasubandhu. Arya Sangha and Acharya Vasubandhu, the two of them are brothers. Two of them were brothers, half brothers. Arya Sangha and Arya Sangha and Acharya Vasubandhu. Two of them were half brothers. Then from this. Is the same mother? Yes. Different fathers. Then from there, the many teachers. So that was around about 4th, 5th century AD. Arya Sangha, Acharya Vasubandhu. Then from there, finally, there are so many teachers in between. Then the 8th century AD. So down the line, and then finally. The Lama Selingpa, the one that we inherit, came from. So all these teachers till Acharya Vasubandhu, and then traveled down with many teachers, and went to Indonesia. Part of which went to Indonesia. Then Lama Selingpa, he was also referred to as the Acharya Dharmakirti. So we don't mix up the two things. Don't mix up the two Acharya Dharmakirtis. One, Acharya Dharmakirti, the logician and the philosopher and the great saint, the 7th century AD, and Lama Selingpa, referred to as Acharya Dharmakirti, in Indonesia, 11th century. So don't mix up two great teachers. Lama Selingpa. And then it depends what we got. These are all coming from Lama Selingpa, Indonesia. So from Lama Selingpa, then Lama additionnaly, the great saint Acharya, the additionnaly. Then he from India went to Indonesia to get the genre of teachings on bodhicitta from his teacher, Lama Selingpa. And it so happens that both of them were princes. Lama Selimba was also a prince, and he became a monk and a great scholar, a great teacher. And the Lama Atisha in India, he was already the top-notch scholar in India. And of course, at that time, even the Geshe Narupa was also alive. Geshe Narupa, two of them are more like contemporaries, but the Saint Narupa was, the generation was elder generation. He was already the very elderly when two of them meet. Atisha and Lama Atisha and the Saint Narupa. So they were contemporaries. Then from Lama Atisha was invited to Tibet, and then all the teaching, the genre of the teachings on Bodhicitta, they all spread in Tibet. So we are so lucky to have, somehow we have received this treasure trove of the teaching on Bodhicitta from the Lama Atisha, from the Lama Selimba, from Indonesia. Okay, by the way, how many of you have been to Indonesia? 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, to Jambi. Okay, 2, 1. Borobudur. Okay, 2, 3. Okay, so in fact, this was quite moving experience. 2 years ago, we deliberately did the Bodhicitta retreat. What we are doing now here, we deliberately did. I requested the Tibetan Buddhist Center, Singapore, because they were organizing this Bodhicitta retreat every year in Singapore or in Malaysia and other places. And then I suggested that why don't we do this Bodhicitta? Finally, we got all these teachings from Lama Selimba. Why don't we do this in the Lama Selimba's own place? So the host, the Tibetan Buddhist Center Singapore, they have been so kind. They immediately explored the possibility for doing that, and we did it there. And then going there, we did it in a very simple resort, which is very close to the Lama Selimba's monastery, the ruins of the monastery. We did the retreat in the resort, and then one day we spent the whole one day. We did the whole what we have on the taking aspiration, Bodhisattva vow, all these things we did in the actual the site of the Lama Selimba's monastery. We did there. So it was more like moving in the sense that finally we got all this treasure trove of the teachings from Lama Selimba. And if the world, people of the world, they are very sensible, just study these texts, we see that these are the best of the psychology, best of the clinical psychology, the best way by which we can create harmony in the world, and yet it is disappearing. This trove of teaching is disappearing. And the land from where it was once thriving, even the prince became the prime teacher of this teaching, holder of this, the main holder of this teaching, in that very place. But the prince, imagine if the prince was the holder of this teaching as a teacher, then imagine all of the common people, they were actively involved in this. So, in other words, we could imagine that, somebody practicing Bodhicitta is walking like this, and another one walking like this. Some of them discussing on the equalizing exchange method, and discussing on the various philosophies and so forth. Just imagine that, like 11th century AD. How many years ago? 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago, this land where now barren. Just some ruins. Even these ruins, it's questionable whether they are real ruins or they are the Indonesian government just building up things to make the impression that these are the ruins to attract the visitors or the pilgrims. Whatever is the case, and then the people there were so kind to the caretakers, the young Muslim boys and girls who were taking care of this place. They were so kind, very kind, but they have no clue of what this is. They have no clue. You ask, they will tell you the name of what is this? They will tell the name which was newly given. They forgot all the names of the past. And very touching. We went there like twice or 3 times. And the second time we went there, we went there, and there was the boy who was working there, a Muslim boy working there, and they have a small bracelet, mala, with a very simple seeds, plant seeds, and they're not professionally done. And he saw me. I could imagine that it was like some kind of the blessings of Lama Selimpa. That somehow, although they have no clue who Lama Selimpa was, in what way this place becomes so important that these people, they come here all the way from different parts of the world. Although they did not have any clue, but they could feel the heaviness of the place here, heaviness and the glory of this place. That this was a very special place. He must have felt that. And then all the boys and girls who were working in this area, they have this bracelet, a very simple bracelet, not really professionally done. Some of the beads, even the beads are like flat or the size, varying sizes. He took off his bracelet and gave it to me. For me, this is one of the greatest blessings from Lama Selimpa's place. Given by this Muslim boy is so close to my heart. I pray that may he generate Bodhicittas as soon as possible. And I was always using this bracelet in my house in Delhi. Whenever I do my prayers, I do use this bracelet. Okay, so this is what happened, and then it's very sad how the karma, when the karma exhausts from the people, then find all the brilliant, wonderful teachings, common sense, so profound, so compassionate, amazing. You practice it a lot, this is a different story. If you practice it, everybody will feel the unconditional love towards others. No doubt. No blind faith base. It's all common sense, and you practice it and you start feeling this unconditional love towards others. It's such a healing for yourself. So look, when you feel agitation, what's the corrosive feeling like? And when you feel unconditional love, this agitation dissolves. This is the teaching which this place held once, what serves as a treasure trove of this teaching, and then where it's all gone. It's very sad, extremely sad to see that. So we went there deliberately. We were about like 82 or something close to 90. We went there, and then we took the Bodhicittas, we did the prayers, and to repay the kindness of Lama Selimpa. Mentally, we all talked, we all appealed, we all talked to Lama Selimpa that you did a great job. You did a great job to disseminate this light of compassion on this land. And today it is all gone. But we are the inheritor of your teachings. We are still alive. We came here to tell you that the torch of your teaching is still alive. It's not dead. It's still alive on this earth. We came here to tell you this. We came here to repay your kindness. We are taking this Ashwin Bodhisattva now. We will take the lineage of this Bodhicitta to spread this teaching to as many beings. Just to tell him that we are here. We came here to repay kindness and to tell the world and to spread this teaching of compassion, which is so precious. The most beautiful mind, anybody, even a billionaire, even somebody who's against Buddhism, if that person feels this Bodhicitta, the person will say that this is what I want. I will be happy to give away all my wealth and everything. I like to experience this mind. And yet, when the karma is not there, when the merit is not there, so this beautiful teaching disappeared from that land where it once thrived. Okay. So this is, and we went there, deliberately we took the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, and then we, so more like mentally we talked to Lama Selimpa, in gratitude, to express our gratitude to him for letting us have this opportunity to practice Bodhicitta, all the trove of the teaching, which he passed on to Lama Disha, who in turn brought to Japan. And then now we are inheriting this. Okay, so this was very moving the moment there in Jambi, Indonesia. Okay. So with this, this is first part, the sevenfold cosmic method. This is how we inherited. Then the second method, the method of equalizing exchanges of others. This was again what the Buddha taught and was transmitted to Aramanjushri. And then from Aramanjushri was inherited by Aranyagarjuna. Then from there, Aranyagarjuna, 1st to 2nd century AD, then transmitted down to Bodhisattva Shantideva in 8th century AD. Then from Bodhisattva Shantideva, 8th century, then 11th century, Lama Selimpa. So it says that Lama Selimpa and Lama Atisha, two of them, they are the point of the confluence of the two traditions. Two traditions merged at the point of Lama Selimpa and Lama Atisha. So now what we inherited is we inherited both the traditions. So the point is that it will be good if we can practice these two methods. When we look around, we see that people. I don't know. It becomes like a fashion to jump to very high teachings, and then what about bodhicitta? Bodhicitta is not that. It's not just a side. It's not like a side teaching or side practice. This requires so much of time to practice, and without this, whole trunk of the minor teaching is lost. And the tantra is tantra. All related to tantra, like the Giru's tradition of the primordial wisdom, primordial innate wisdom, and the Sakya tradition of the wisdom of the non-duality, the non-duality of the clarity and the emptiness, and the Kalachakra tradition of Mahamudra, and the Nima tradition, Dzogchen. These are all like the flowers on the trunk of Bodhicitta and wisdom and emptiness. The trunk is missing. Nowadays, we see that people say that I do one practice. What is that? Actually, it's something related to Tantra. Whatever, Sakya, Kalpi, some kind of Tantra. What about Bodhicitta? No Bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is just one stanza. I go for a few children, I go for a few Buddha, Dharma, Sangha until I learn Latin. And by the power of the practice of Chinos and so forth, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. 2 lines. Here's Bodhicitta, finish. And then whole time dedicated or invested on Tantra. Okay, I have no comment on this. But if you really want to make sense, make meaning, give a meaning to your life, then we have to practice Bodhicitta. When the Bodhicitta is there, when the wisdom of emptiness is there, Tantra, of course, we need to have some merit to meet with the teaching of Tantra. Automatically, Tantra will fall in place. Okay, so the second method is the method of the equalizing and exchanging of others. Okay, these are the two primary methods. So what we suggest is that to do the practice, these two methods, if you do it very seriously, and then to think of doing both methods in one stretch is quite taxing. It's quite consuming. It's quite exhausting. It's quite exhausting. Okay, finally you decide on the basis of your own experience. What you can try is you can when you're more free, say like you have a long weekend. Then you can do both the methods in one stretch and see how it goes. If you feel it's so exhausting, and at the beginning you may not feel that, because out of the curiosity, out of the excitement, you may not feel that. But then later on, you have no energy left for doing the other practices, And in the evening, when you do practice either you feel a little lethargic, heavy, which means that you're already tired because of that. So just see to your own experience. Initially, you can do the first method today and the second method and the next day. Alternate between these two methods. This could be one possibility. And then over time, when you see that you're quite familiar with both methods, then you can do both in one stretch. Because you're already familiar, you don't really have to exert much energy there. This is one possibility. Then the next point is that particularly the people who are working as employees, before office work and so forth. So there, if you have to go at the right time, office time there, then I would suggest that doing the two methods in one stretch would be quite challenging. So the best would be you should be very practical. Do one method today, the other method tomorrow, just alternate between these two methods. This is more practical. Why I'm saying this? Otherwise you can have a timing. Let's say that, okay, the first method I'll spend 10 minutes, second method I'll spend 10 minutes. This is how it doesn't work with the Bodhicitta practice. Because sometimes it can take a little longer. Sometimes it can take less time. It is not like emptiness meditation. Okay, so for that matter, what we suggest is that if you have the whole 24 hours in your hand, like those who are retired, if you're retired, now you don't have Uber. Okay, then you can do both the methods, and that too is quite taxing. I'm saying this again. Okay, that you have to see through your own experience. Don't force yourself that you have to do both methods in one stretch. Okay, so because this is not only the practice, you also have the practice of the emptiness, you also have the practice of the four seals, renunciation, then you also have the practice of the seal one meditation. To make your practice complete, these four must be there, what we do in the mornings. Okay, so having said this, I will first do the second method of equalizing and exchanging self-others. In the monastic universities, okay, by the way, how many of you have been to monastic universities such as like Ganden, Sera, Depong, regions? Big monastic universities, Ganden, Sera, Depong. One? Visit also fine. Seen the monks debating in thousands, regions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shouts? No? You didn't go? Never mind. Okay, 1. Yes. Okay, why did you not raise hands? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, no? 6. Howard? Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so those who do not visit, you must make a visit. You must make a visit there. Why I'm saying this? In the monastic universities, the debates are very rigorous debates. And if you could really follow the debates, you will see the tension inside. Not really tension, a positive tension. Positive tension inside, the rigor is there. Okay. So with this, particularly, particularly if you don't have that experience, you may feel it very anxietic. It's not really anxietic, but outsiders may feel it very anxietic. Because, if you are to sometime, this is not something that happens every day, but once in a while it happens, a group discussion, a group debate, where, you, 2 or 3 people, they have to answer all the questions. You sit here, and the rest, thousands of monks are all down there, and they are all against you. And amongst them, the top debaters are there. And anybody can throw any very sharp questions. So you should be able to defend that. And you have to spend like at least 4 or 5 hours. You have to defend. Okay, it's quite sweating. Yeah. Okay, so there what happens is that how the debate starts is first there are about like 14 to 20 different classes. Classes varying in the seniority. First, the junior-most class. If the topic for today's debate is on the emptiness, then the four classes on emptiness, they are very senior classes. So the younger ones, they just take part in this congregation, but the debates will be done by the senior ones. Younger ones will not take part. Only the senior ones, but thousands of monks are there, and all the young ones, they're watching us. Then the junior-most of the class, one of the monks will stand up and start a debate. Then it may last for about half an hour. In some cases, the first debates will be like 1 hour, so just for one topic, 1 hour. Then after this, the second monk come up. When the monks stand, it doesn't mean that it's going to start a new debate. Maybe to continue a follow-up of the early debate. And like 10, 20 people can be there. And whereas if somebody comes with a little bit more formally, with a more nice, formal way, which means that it's going to start a new debate, new topic, which means the second class. And then the next class. Then how do we know that the debate will come to the end? Sometimes the debate will last till 12 a.m. midnight. Sometimes it can go like this, starting from 6 p.m. till like 12 a.m. And this is also known as overnight debate. This debate is known as overnight debate. Supposed to be spent whole night in the debate. Then how do we know that the debate will come to an end? There is no fixed date or fixed timing. How do we know that the debate will come to an end? Suddenly, if a very young monk, somebody who's a junior, stands up, means now the debate is going to be completed. So the younger one will stand up and start a debate. Then everybody will sit down. So there, the wording is always, they start with the one line. Debate is always, they begin the debate with one line, and you have to pinpoint where this line is picked up from where this line is picked up. Or from this text. You have to pick up the text. And if you identify it correctly, then the debater will ask you, what is the immediate preceding line, what is the immediate following line. You have to precisely tell the lines. Once the lines, you are able to identify the lines well, then they will ask you, what's the context? What's the root text? You have to then say the root text. They recite the root text. Once the root text is recited, then we'll say what is the outline. This comes out of which outline? You have to specify the outline. And then outlines, they will take you down till the end of the text, till the top of the text. You should see the whole book in your mind. This is how the debate is followed. And then when the young monk stands up, and then he starts a word. So then the moment everybody's otherwise listening to the debate, they are thinking in their own ways. Okay, so he said this, so this is what the thought processes there, and all these thought exchanges are going in their minds so actively. When the young monk stands up, you meet all the monks, they would put themselves nicely, and everybody will be upright, everybody will go into meditation. And then they will very patiently listen to what this monk was saying. So usually when the debate comes to an end, then the young monk, how the debate ends is with the young monk reciting a verse of a Bodhicitta. And the debate is very rigorous on emptiness and so forth. Very rigorous. Will not spare you. Right? And then, but it will end with the Bodhicitta. This debate, all this rigorous debate. And if you are trapped in contradiction, they will not spare you. They will not move an inch. They will just keep provoking you. You have to somehow get out of them. And if you're lucky, some very bright scholars on the side will fill sympathy towards you and give some answers from the side. You have to be able to catch it, and then you can run away. Then again they will trap you. Okay, they will never spare you. They will never spare you. And then the young monk comes and start a line of the Bodhicitta, which means that okay, now you are spared. Now you are spared. Everybody will instantly sit upright, properly, very naturally. Nobody saying anything. Everybody, all thousands of monks, they will go into their own meditations on Bodhicitta. And particularly, very precisely, crystal clear, they will reflect on what this line is about. And then the one line, which is very commonly said, is that Bodhicitta is like the gold-making elixir. This is the sense from Aranyagara, the Bodhisattva Shantideva's text, Guided Bodhisattva Spirit Life. Bodhicitta is like the gold-making elixir. Once the metals, ordinary metals, to be dumped, they come in contact with this gold-making elixir, all this metal turn gold. Likewise, the ordinary beings like us, with body, speech, and very defined body, speech, and mind, when it comes in contact with the bodhicitta, your whole body will become the Buddha's body, perfect body. Okay, this is the stanza, which is so commonly said during the concluding debates. At the moment, this is said, everybody will go into meditation, will reflect on the benefit of bodhicitta, and then you just try to invoke this bodhicitta inside. It's a beautiful practice. Okay, so what this stanza says is that, for example, let's say you have so many metallic items to be dumped, useless metallic items to be dumped, and then if there is say gold-making elixir, gold-making solution, I don't know nowadays. There is nothing of this kind. In those days, there is a common practice of the alchemy. Common practice of alchemy, like the chemists in those days. And then they turn the ordinary metal into gold by using those solutions. They apply these solutions to the useless metals, and this metal will become gold. So, say these metals to be otherwise dumped. You apply this solution to these metals, they all become gold. Now I'm going to dump them. I'm going to dump this now. No, they're gold now. They're so precious. Likewise, our body is like the metal to be dumped. Our body, right? It is so prone to sickness. How many of you don't eat for one day, you feel hungry? No hungry. Huh? Mike, you don't feel hungry if you don't eat for one day. Mary Christian? You feel hungry? Not hungry. This is yes. Okay. So look, this is a body. This is a body. And then if we stay with people who have the flu, easily will contract the flu. Right? Good things we don't contract. Bad things our body will easily contract. They catch the flu so easily. This is our body. And this body is prone to what? Believe it or not, 90% of our time is wasted after this body. Do you agree with me? First of all, we all have a job to do. What is that job? For money. What for money? Why money? To feed this body. 90% of the time is wasted on this body. To speak very honestly. And this body, it has nothing good. Right? Nothing good is there with this body. To speak very honestly. If the heat comes, instantly the body starts smelling. Terrible. It's terrible. You have to take a shower every day. If not, it smells terrible. And then you feed this body being so nice, and then one day suddenly it says that, oh, you have a cancer. Finish. Hunger, thirst, sickness, aging, death, all related to the body, this body. So, and yet this body has nothing good in it, to be very honest. And we have to survive. We are the servant of this body. Believe it or not, 99% of our time, energy, resources are just for this body. 99%, if not 100%. It's just for this body. And yet the body is so defiled. So defiled. And no exception. Whether you're queen, king, queen, it's just a name given. Same. Extra the 34 degrees centigrade, 35 degrees centigrade, body stinks. Whether it's king or queen, there's no difference. Right? And the speech. What we have is, we have the body, speech and mind. The speech, right? Somebody says, what a stupid guy. You stupid guy. Automatic. Automatic. The terrible words come out so automatic. No, we don't need anybody to teach us. The speech that we have is terrible. It can easily offend somebody. Right? We don't have the skillfulness to say something nice. The words that come out easily offend someone. They are as sharp as the weapons. And the mind is even worse. The mind is even worse. Somebody says, no, okay, look, just some nice words can excite us. Our mind gets excited. And a little bad word can easily make us so timorous as though the whole world is shattered. Whole world has become, gloomy. He said this, she said this. But then you close the door, you also stay inside. This is how our mind is so easily affected. Our mind is so weak, vulnerable, defiled. And very easily we can see this Friday evenings and the Monday mornings. Do you see difference? Friday evenings and Monday mornings. Do you see difference? Huh? No, Friday evenings everybody smiling. Everybody smiling. Monday mornings everybody is, the face is down. Why make your smile, your face to glow in the Friday evenings, and the Monday mornings the face to go down? It's not thought process. The mind decides. It's mind. Look how weak our mind is. And look at this, body, speech and mind. Our body are so vulnerable. Our speech is so corrosive, aggressive. And our mind is so vulnerable and also so aggressive. This is what body, speech and mind do. It is like the metals to be dumped. Yet, only one good thing that we have is that if we practice, we have incredible intelligence, the human mind, that we birth as human being. We have this human mind, human intelligence. If you use this mind, this mind can bring the elixir of Bodhicitta. The moment this elixir of Bodhicitta is acquired, then this elixir of Bodhicitta within you can change this body into the divine body. The speech into the very pleasant speech of the Buddhas, and the mind into omniscient, infinite compassion, infinite wisdom, and infinite power. All these are made by this elixir of the Bodhicitta. So it says, what a wise person on this earth will not revere this Bodhicitta. So this is the benefit of Bodhicitta. And a matter of fact, if you practice it, although you may feel that I'm not really a happy person, no, the life is so competitive. Okay, this is what we feel. But if you practice Bodhicitta over time, it's not an easy task. But if you practice it over time, you will see the shift in the thinking pattern, where overall state of the mind is so happy, calm, peaceful. No matter what external factors you meet with, your mind is forever calm, peaceful. And look, for example, say if you are in somebody's house, if you are a stranger, you have to go to somebody's house. You go there, and then the table is set like this, and then the person serves juice for you. You drink the juice, and the juice was actually here in front of you. And you drink it. Okay, the cup, the lid was there. And then, please have the juice. And you open the lid and keep it there. And the person watching you, right? Okay, fine. Then you drink the juice. You keep it there. You keep it there, and you left. He even just don't know how to put the lid back. Right? Okay. Then you put it was here, you put it there. He doesn't know where he picked it up from. Right? Okay. Particularly when you don't like the person. If this incense is like this and you keep it straight, this is not your business. Right? And you keep it like this, what are you doing? And if somebody asks you, how are you? Are you my doctor? Where are you going? Are you my spy? Should I have to tell you everything? Look, when the love is missing, everything that other person does is negative. Everything you do will be seen as negative by others. When the love is there, it's so beautiful. Everything becomes divine. When the love is there. For example, you're so particular about everything must be so meticulously done like this. And suddenly, let's say, Mike comes, and Mike says, oh, Geshe, your incense, and keep it like this, right? I look at it, wow, it's so beautiful. I didn't know how to keep it like this. When I keep it like this, it's so beautiful. Thank you, Mike. It's so beautiful. For tomorrow, I'll keep it like this. And then oath comes, oh, Geshe, no. Keep it like this. Wow, it's beautiful. It's amazing. Oh, how did you know that? I didn't know. I thought it should be always like this or like this. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much. Right? So in future, somebody say, I like to open like this. It's so nice. Amazing. Wow. Wow. Then this flower should be like this. It should be in the vase. And then our Isabel comes. Oh, Geshe, where did you get this flower? Where's the flower? It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Wow. It's beautiful. Now it's turning to a Doksala. Earlier the flower is just turning towards me. Now the flower is turning towards Doksala. It's so nice. Beautiful. Amazing. Isabel, thank you. Whatever you do is so beautiful. It's beautiful. Right? If the leaf falls, it's beautiful. If the leaf falls, it's so beautiful. And then say the beetle insects, they fall and so auspicious, a beetle comes. A beetle comes here, right? Say, if you are a very short, angry person, even the beetles will run away from you. The beetle come here, it's so beautiful. Thank you for coming here. Look, when the love is there, everything is good. This transforms everything to beautiful. When the love is missing, everything is negative. Everything you do is negative. Right? If you put it so precisely like this, something is wrong. You said that, is it so mechanical that everything should in this vase? If it's outside, you don't know where to put it in. When the love is missing, everything is missing. When the love is there, everything is intact, everything is beautiful. So this is what the Bodhicitta is all about. It's so beautiful. So the moment you start feeling this, we don't really need to take antidepressants, believe it or not. We don't really need to take antidepressants. It's just a matter of practice. You practice this. One example that I like to give is, at one point, literally I had the asthma problem. Many years ago. Now it's over. Asthma problem. I went to the doctor, and the doctor prescribed me some medicines. And I started taking the medicines, tablets. And the tablets, they helped. But how they helped is that I could feel that without taking the tablets, The problem is that I could gradually feel the suffocation of the breath. I could feel the suffocation. I could literally hear the sound. When it is like the pipe, from the pipe, when the air is going through the pipe, you can hear the sound. Literally, I can hear the sound. So, if I don't take the tablet or something, then this becomes worse, then it's very scary experience. So, once I started taking the tablets, the breath, yes, the breath improved. But it is as though like very forcefully trying to open up the windpipe. Forcefully, I could feel it because of the medication. Forcefully opening, and it's not naturally flowing the air. Then one of my Indian friends, he said that what for you came to the hospital? I said because of the asthma problem. He said for asthma don't take medicine, you have to do yoga, you have to do physical exercise. And somehow I got somebody to teach me how to do yoga. I started doing this. Believe it or not, within 1 week, this air problem stopped. Not only air problem stopped, it's so blissful when I start breathe. When I breathe, it was so blissful experience. It's so blissful experience. With the medication, it helps, but it's so forcefully helping you. And with this exercise, no medication is so blissful. That feeling is much more pleasant even when I did not have the problem. So what I'm saying is that taking medication, antidepressant, can help you, but it numbs your negative depressing thoughts. It also numbs your positive thoughts, both. Whereas the Bodhicitta practice, it will numb your negative thoughts and it will enrich your positive thoughts. And what do you want? You want to numb your negative thoughts as well as the positive? Or you want to numb the negative thoughts and expand your positive thoughts? What do you want? Of course, we want to expand our positive thoughts. We want to expand our happiness. So if you really want this, antidepressant will not help. It's just a temporary relief. The real answer lies in the Bodhicitta practice. So therefore, wisdom of emptiness is the most fearless mind in this world. If you want to get rid of the fears, it is the wisdom of emptiness. If you want to see the expansive happiness and joy, the lightness of mind, it is the Bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the most beautiful mind in this world. Wisdom of emptiness is the most fearless mind in this world. Okay, this we have to keep in mind. Okay, we'll stop here. Any questions?